Welcome, coaches. Hi, this is Randy Brown, and I'm glad you're able to join me tonight for Drills 101, preparing for the season. What I want to do tonight is take the topic of drills and give you some food for thought, give you some ideas on how you can get more organized before and during the season with the use of your drills. And so, with that, I want to jump right into the program. We talk about preseason preparation. So, here tonight, in the time we have together, I want to focus on these things: the organization of your drills. And we're going to do that by introducing the idea of a drill outline. That is the very first step, whether you're a veteran coach or whether you're a first year coach, to establish a drill outline. The number one place you need to start. Meeting with your staff next is very important. We'll talk about how you need to review and refresh your drill outline from season to season, even within the season. There are must have drills. What are your most important foundational drills for your program? Those must have cornerstone drills really are your identity as a coach in practice. We're going to talk about diagramming and explaining each drill on paper. It's great for you as a coach to know how the drill goes, but everybody around you also needs to know exactly how the drill is to be conducted to get on the same page. Having a purpose for each drill, I think this is where we miss the boat. I want to really emphasize to you establishing very specifically what is the purpose of each drill. There is also a drill progression that I want to address, and I called it build a drill. It's just how you start on the floor from introducing the drill all the way to making it competitive. And then lastly, ways to keep drills fresh. So let's jump right into it. Drills are the lifeblood of building your team this season. They really are. You go to the practice floor, and I really believe that you begin to win or lose your next game based on how you approach the structure of drills in your practice. They're the fundamental blocks and ensure a solid foundation in your program. So I want to stimulate your thinking. You know, every coach has an idea of their drill structure, their favorite drills, the ones they've run forever. But I want you to really think really about maybe approaching things differently. First of all, through your organization of all of your material and drills, and then really thinking about and analyzing, are these really the drills? Is there really value to what we're doing in practice? It starts with an outline. And again, it really doesn't matter where you're at as a coach, how much experience you have. I know a lot of successful coaches don't have anything written down. And I'm not to say here that, you can't do that. I don't recommend it. I think there's a huge benefit to being organized. And being organized basically means this. We've all been to a lot of clinics. We all collect a lot of things on the internet, books, newsletters. We watch games and take notes. There's a probably more than ever before, a massive amount of information. Well, if all you do is collect information and put it in piles and throw it in filing cabinets, it's not going to do you any good. Because number one, you can't find it, what you want specifically, and number two, it's unorganized. So I am really going to ask you to, and encourage you to, challenge you to construct a drill outline. And I'm going to give you some examples tonight of what that looks like. But it starts out as an outline that really I liken it to a book. When you open up a book, it has the title, and then it has the chapters listed. 1 through 24, the chapters of the book. And if you want to find out a particular topic, You look and it's chapter 11, you go to a chapter 11. Well, the same with your drill outline. We're going to break it down, all parts of the game. So, you need a list of all your drills that you have in your catalog. And we're going to include all of the drills that you've run, both your cornerstone must have drills, along with others that you maybe have used in the past or have used a little bit, but are not really a part of uh, every day or every week's practice. So it's going to be a real comprehensive collection. So we're going to categorize them into sections. So, major categories: offense, defense, transition, rebounding, shooting, late game situations. These are just some of the major topics. Within each topic, you're going to break it down. And I just give you an example here. So let's say defense, in the defensive part of your outline. Okay, underneath that, part of defense would be your half court defense. You take your half court defense and break that into pieces. Part of your half court defense is going to be teaching help side. Okay, underneath teaching help side, what are all the components that you must keep in mind and teach for good help side defense in the half court? Well, help and recover is a part of your help side defense. So as you can see, I've gone 4 layers deep on from main defense topic to help and recover. So that's the way the skeleton of your initial outline needs to look like. Next, review your outline during the season, before the season, with your staff. Okay, don't be afraid to add and delete drills. Don't hang on to drills just because you've always done them, or your high school coach ran it, or you saw them at clinics. Have a very definite purpose behind why you run a particular drill. So continue to revise it. Add and delete. Okay, make it relevant to you and your program. So then within that, you're always going to list your must-have drills first in each category. And those are the ones that basically identify you as a coach through your drills. If you're a big shell drill coach and you have a lot of variations to your shell drill, and you really feel like that alone helps prepare your team fundamentally for the season for your man-to-man defense, then you're going to list that up top because that's a must-have. But you're also going to have your secondary list of drills listed below that. So with that, I want to show you something. A friend of mine, Coach Bobby Sandquist, out of Des Moines, Iowa, who I've known for a long time, put this together about 15 years ago when he was the head coach at Hoover basketball master plan. And what Bobby's done, and this is a great example of a skeleton outline, he's basically taken everything that he needs to prepare for and teach during the season and break it down into a master plan. As you can see, the first topic is offense. Okay, what are the components of offense? Well, there's team offense, there's full court, there's transition, there's delay game, there's set plays, there's free throws, there's out of bounds, and 8 special situations. So he's just under offense, he's got it broken down into 8 categories. Within each category, looking up top there, under offense, he has team defense. Under team defense, he has half court. Under half court, he has versus man-to-man, versus zone, versus trap, versus matchup. So he's done a really good job here. And I bet I've shared this with several hundred coaches because I think this is one of the best outlines I've ever seen. And he's really done a good job of identifying all the parts of the game. And so yours might not be as detailed to start with, but the key is starting. You must get started. And so I think this is a really an excellent example for you, for those of you who have not got started with your drill outline. So make sure your staff has the drill outline. Make sure they review it with you. Make sure they review it on their own. Make sure that they themselves feel confident with what's in your drill outline. Your drill outline is going to turn into your drill notebook, and we're going to talk about how that's going to happen here in a second. But I think a great question to ask your staff is, do they know how to run the drills in your program in your absence? Let's say you've got to leave for a personal situation for 3 days. You take your top assistant. Does he have the knowledge and ability to explain the purpose of the drills, run them during practice, highlighting on all the teaching points, and is he able to relate to the players why these are important? If not, then you need to get with your assistant coaches because you're not fully prepared. I would keep your outline with your practice plans. And that way, after practice, when you go to put your practice plan in your notebook, you've got a note about, hey, I hate this drill. I'm never going to run it again. All right? That's good because it's right next to your drill outline. So cross that thing off your outline. Don't wait till at the end of the season because you're going to forget on December 1st how you wanted to eliminate that drill. So always have it handy. Put it in the same notebook that you put your practice plans in. And always be tweaking drills. Always be making notes on how you can make a drill better. And a lot of times, coaches will tell you they make drills up on the fly. You know, they'll during stretching, they'll be thinking about, oh, you know what? We should add this and this and this from yesterday's practice and put it into one drill. Be a great combo drill. And next thing you know, they're running it every day. And there's nothing wrong with that. So add it to your notebook. Make it part of your game. Now, really crucial. Number one, we talked about an outline. Once you've established your outline, you then need to go through the outline and document every drill. What do I mean by document? I mean by either handwriting or by using the computer, okay, with diagram technology such as FastModel or others, or simply just using the old diagram pad and hand diagramming. It doesn't matter, but here's what you're going to do. With every drill and with every part that you're going to teach from your outline, okay, you're going to write up, diagram, and explain the drill and its specific purpose. So, 4 things I say for each drill. Number 1, the name of the drill. Number 2, the specific purpose of the drill. And don't say, well, it's a defensive drill. No, say it's a defensive drill. And what we're trying to get out of this drill is we're emphasizing ball pressure, vision from the weak side, and bumping cutters. So when you run that drill, you and your assistants and your players know those are the 3 purposes of that drill. So name, purpose, you're then going to diagram the drill, and then you're going to explain the drill. Those 4 things, name, purpose, diagram, explain. It may take a page, half a page, might take 2 pages. But design that drill. And you're going to say, well, I have hundreds of drills. Well, you know what? Maybe when you start this project, you won't have hundreds of drills. You're going to realize that you're probably going to go with the drills that you know to be the best and to help your team the most. If you want to diagram, go through and create 100 of these, that's fine. You're going to have a heck of a drill notebook. But just the outline doesn't do it. And I hope you're following me. That's just the start. Now, one by one, and I would encourage you to do 1 a day. If you have good assistants who know your drills, have them each do 1. Have them split it up. Have them do 5 each in a week. And slowly you're going to be able to add until your drill notebook is complete. You will be so glad, believe me, when you get it completed. It'll be such a good feeling. You won't really realize how you did it before without being this organized and having things on paper. All right? So here's some thoughts. Establish the purpose of this drill. And I've said it probably 3 or 4 times already. What is the purpose of this drill? If you can't clearly, decisively write down the specific purpose of a drill, you don't need that drill. You know what? It's just a drill. It's something you saw that you thought looked cool. It's something your buddy said he runs in practice, so you thought you'd run it. Something you saw at a clinic. Listen, if there's not much substance behind it and you can't specifically determine what the purpose of it is, don't use it. You're wasting time and you're confusing your kids. So then teach the drill according to its purpose. What does that mean? If it's a rebounding drill, okay, don't lose focus and begin to teach all kinds of different parts of the game when in fact this drill's ultimate purpose is rebounding. Hammer away at the purpose. I'm not saying that there can only be one purpose of the drill, but if it's a rebounding drill and blocking out, making contact, and rebounding with two hands is the emphasis, that is an unrelenting focus. Don't get away from that. Period. That's what you're going to demand during that drill. And then the third item there, ask your players on the floor. I always say the best way to create IQ and buy-in is to have your players regurgitate the information back to you. Stay away from yes and no questions. Every kid's going to say, yes, I understand. So you're in the middle of a drill and ask one of your players, hey, what's the purpose of this drill? What are we trying to accomplish and get better at? Now, if they don't know, then I'd say they're not learning much during that drill. Ask your players what the purpose is. Ask your players the name of the drill. If you want to find out if they're on the same page as you, ask them to tell you what you just told them. Okay, so what's drill overload? Yeah, I'm not saying you need 600 drills. All right, you diagram, okay, and create as many drills as you want for your notebook. That's fine. That's up to you. But overload is all about how much duplication you have. I always ask coaches, well, how many closeout drills do you need? Okay, instead of 6 different closeout drills, which basically the purpose of each drill is a proper closeout without ball, without an open shot, or dribble penetration without fouling, right? That's what you're trying to do in a closeout drill. And I've been to practices where I've seen 6 or 7 different closeout drills. And I'm thinking, just settle on 2 or maybe 3 of your best closeout drill that maybe have another element to make it more of a combination drill, and go with those consistently. 38 rebounding drills. You know what? Scrap that. Make it 4 rebounding drills and then teach the heck out of those 4. You may run 1 or 2 a day. That's probably all you need in a given day, and maybe mix them up during the week. And keep things new and fresh. Tweak a drill. Throw in a brand new closeout drill maybe for a day, and maybe you'll never go back to it. You can trick players. You can trick them into all kinds of different things, and they're going to say, oh, this is a really cool drill. Well, it's really the one we've been running every single day. It just starts from a different side of the floor. So keep that in mind. So overload means that players will lose the purpose of the drill. If you do nothing but throw dozens of drill after drill after drill, changing drills up all the time, it'll confuse you, it'll confuse your staff, and it'll confuse your kids. So I really want to challenge you to stay away from drill overload. I think really good coaches and assistant coaches have the freedom to pull players out of the drill, to teach correct and emphasize technique and mistakes. I think it is really hard for a player in the heat of the drill, in the heat of practice, to be having a coach bark instructions to them while the play is going on with all the things they've got to remember, and to really hear what you're saying and execute it. So pull a player out of a drill that's not, properly executing something defensively. Let's say they keep losing vision when there's a screen on them. So pull them out of the drill. Get them over on the side. Get them to slow down a little bit. Maybe grab a couple other players and simulate the drill, what you're trying to teach them. Then put them back in the drill. Now, here's where you're going to find out a lot about your players. You're going to have some who go back in the drill, make the same mistake. Basically, don't make any improvement whatsoever after you have taken the time to get them out of the drill and put them back in. That'll tell you something about that player. You're also going to have players who go into the drill and will immediately make the corrections that you've taught them to make. And that'll tell you something about that player. And that's the guy I want on my team on game night rather than the first player. I want the second guy who will listen and execute to what you're asking him to do. Think about using short names for your drills. Real quick, zip, or flash, or red. Come up with real quick, short names. In practice, your players are going to like that because they're going to, if you're really into having them transition quickly from one drill to the next, it's a lot easier with short names. And then the next item is really important. Assign assistant coaches to specific aspects of the drill. So I'm going to challenge the head coaches listening to this. Do your coaches have specific accountability? Do they have specific responsibilities for each of the drills that you guys have in practice? Now, if you're just generically having your coaches out there and barking instructions from the baseline, and so we got 4 or 5 coaches all kind of giving general instructions, think about that and think about how counterproductive that is. If you're an assistant coach, does your head coach put the accountability on you to watch and teach certain things during every drill? I don't know why not. And if not, I would talk to your head coach and ask them how you can be more influential in practice, how you can have a bigger impact on practice based on what things that you should emphasize. So, for example, paying attention specifically to vision. Okay, any of your defensive drills, you're the vision coach. You're not worried about on-ball screens. Okay, you're not worried about the help side. You're worried about, no matter where players are, what their vision is of both man and ball. Can they see the floor? You may have a communication coach. You may have a closeout coach. You may have a rebounding coach. So instead of mass instructions being yelled out by a handful of coaches, you're now getting specific instruction by specific coaches. I will tell you this quick story at Iowa State, working for one of the best rebounding coaches in college basketball for a long, long time, Larry Eustachy, and in almost every drill, I had rebounding. And it got to the point where if our guys weren't rebounding, it was on me, okay? And coach would get on me for our guys not rebounding. Now think about that. You talk about high accountability. I walked onto the practice floor and I had to be really focused in, laser focused and ready to go to teach. It wasn't a deal where I'm just kind of, losing focus, walking around the edge of the floor, not really paying that much attention. High accountability. I also had defensive transition for our bigs. So any drill that we ran in transition, so we're going up and down, we're drilling up and down, from the time the opponent rebounded and got possession of the ball after we had taken a shot or a turnover, our bigs had 3.5 seconds to get to the top of the key at the other end of the floor. And I would call out with a stopwatch, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, boom. And if they weren't back, we may stop the drill. That's how important that was. Okay, you can't emphasize 100 things in your practice. A lot of you have heard me talk about your top 3. What are your top 3 as a coach? Well, if one of your top 3 is defensive transition, then you're going to have a coach. Okay, teach defensive transition for your bigs and your guards on every single transition in your practice. If you do, you'll be really, really good at it during the game, and you won't give up any cheap baskets. And if you believe that leads to winning more than many other things, then that'll be one of your top 3. So get your coaches organized relative to what's most important to you and have them teach during practice accordingly. Really important, guys. Really important. Well, we talked about it earlier. Give some freshness to your practice. Mix up drills. Come up with something fun to end practice with. Um, do some shooting that's competitive. There's a lot of things you can do, and as hard as we want to push our players, and as much as we want to challenge them during practice and get a lot done, you got to understand where they're coming from. And sometimes we give them too much and we go too long, and so it's good to throw something fresh in there at times. It'll really help them. Next thing, you always want to accomplish accountability. You want to improve your skill or technique, and make sure you simulate game situations. If you run a practice drill in practice with no carryover to the game, in other words, it doesn't replicate the game at all, it's just literally a drill. Well, they don't run those in games. Okay? Games are up and down, games are fiercely competitive. So your drills should look like little parts of the game. They should not look like drills. And I hope that makes sense to you. Accountability is the number one goal of your drills. If you have a purpose, you and your staff and your players will become highly accountable for what you're trying to accomplish, and that will carry over to the game. This is huge. I'm an absolute 100% believer in the fact that what you allow in practice, you will see again in the game. If you do not do a good job in practice, coach, you should never be angry or disappointed during a game when things don't go the way you want them to go. You win or lose the game on Friday night, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Monday, in a film session. It's a cumulative effect. So if you're highly accountable with great purpose and you're getting a lot out of your drills and a lot out of your practices, what you allow, what accountability goes on during practice, you will see in the game. Hopefully, high accountability will lead to high accountability during the game, which will lead to winning. That's the idea. You play the way you practice. There is absolutely no getting around that. Like I said, Friday night, your accountability is on display, both as you, as a coach, and what you've related to your players. The last part of our presentation here is how to build a drill. Do you just throw a drill out and say, okay, guys, we're going to run 4-on-4 shell. I need 4 offense, 4 defense. Here we go. Move the ball. Well, of course you don't. So when you're designing a drill, and I think this is huge for those of you who have feeder programs and you're teaching your 5th and 6th grade coaches, okay, how to build defense so that when kids come up in the program, they get up to your level and they really understand half-court man-to-man defense. Here's just a real good way, I think, to build a drill. First thing you're going to do is introduce the drill. They've got to know what the name of it is. It doesn't matter if it has to do with defense or not. Just come up with a name that they can associate with the drill. Second, like we said, explain the purpose of the drill. Specifically, why are we doing this drill? And what is it that we want to become an expert in? Vision, help side, on-ball screening, defense, whatever the case may be, blocking out. Okay, explain the purpose of the drill. Kids must know, why are we doing this drill? Next, set the drill up on the floor. If it's a shell, 4 against 4, set it up and walk and talk your way through the drill. Using key terminology, make sure everybody's eyes are up and on you as you walk through the drill, slowly. Then ask them for feedback, questions, and ask them questions. This is a great time to grab one of your guys, see if he's paying attention, say, what's the purpose of this drill, this zipper drill we're running? And they should know because you just told them. All right, next, run the drill at half speed now. They know how it's set up, they know the purpose of the drill, the name of the drill, and they know how the drill is organized and run. So go half speed. Feel free to stop and explain if you need to, and reinforce some teaching. Make the corrections necessary. Now you're ready to run the drill at full speed. Repeat the drill at full speed. Now you're going to have a lot of breakdowns. There's going to be a lack of carryover. So you're going to have to go back a little bit and reteach. You're going to have to go back in this progression and reteach and redo some of these things, and then get back to where you can run it full speed again. The last part is make it competitive. So this is how you build a drill. So I want you to think about it. Head coaches, assistant coaches, are you going through this kind of detail when you throw drills out in practice? If not, you're assuming way too much with your players. You're assuming that they think about this game the way you do. Okay? And that's a recipe for disaster every single time. Ask your players to explain to you the name, the purpose, and how to run the drill. And if you do, you know that you've really done a good job. Okay, let me show you a couple things in review here to kind of follow up with what I was talking about. This is a defensive drill from a coach. This was sent to me. This is a 3 versus 3 blockout drill. All right, and I'm not going to go through the drill, but I just wanted to show it to you because I like the fact that he's got his logo up there. Okay, the topic is defense. At the bottom, actually, he has the purpose, toughness and rebounding. As a change-up, designate one player on each team that their points are doubled in this drill. Okay, so there's some good purpose to the drill, and then it's diagrammed and it's explained. So I really like that as a good example on how to construct a drill that's going to go in your drill notebook. And then I just wanted to show you a drill that I've run for a long time called the Ultimate Post Drill. So I'm just going to scroll you through this. There are 7 purposes, 7 defensive principles that we're going to focus on in this drill. Initial position and vision, defensive positioning. 3, getting off to the goal. 4, denying the flash post. 5, denying high-low. 6, help side rotation. And 7, one-on-one defense. This is a great combination drill. Combination drill meaning that I'm taking 7 things and we're putting them into one drill. And I would much rather that you do that versus run 7 separate drills. It'll take you way more time and you're going to confuse your players. But take this teaching. It takes a while to get it set up and teach it. But once you do, you can get through it quickly and you can teach 7 things in one drill. So step 1, I indicate what it is, initial position with vision. I explain the purpose. I explain how the drill is run. And we have a diagram. Step 2, defensive positioning. So as you're looking at this, I hope you're thinking about your drills. What do your drills look like on paper? Name, purpose, description, and diagram. Then we go to step 4, denying the flash post. 5, denying the high-low entry. 6, defensive rotation, help side. And then the last part of the drill ends up with a one-on-one situation from the top of the key. Keeping the player in front of you without fouling. Contest the shot, block out, rebound with 2 hands. So there's a pretty good example of what it would look like for you to diagram and get those drills ready to go into your notebook. So with that being said, we've covered drills 101, talked about organization and purpose. I hope you've got a lot out of this. I hope you've learned something. If you would like any of these documents that I've shown you, from Bobby Sanquist's outline to the 7-step ultimate post drill to the 3-on-3 blockout drill, to any of the other multitude of resources I have, please let me know if you'd like those resources that would complement the program that we've had here tonight. And simply email me and request RB, my initials, RB at CoachRB.com. RB at CoachRB.com. And I'd love to get you information on how you can become an expert at organizing your drills, teaching your drills, and getting the most out of your practice time. So with that, I thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us, and all the best with your coaching this season. Thanks.